You know what's wild? I can go through an entire day completely fine. Traffic? Fine. Bad coffee? Fine. Someone ate my lunch from the office fridge? Annoying, but fine. And then one person, sometimes someone I've known for years, says one specific thing in one specific tone, and something in me just shifts. Not explodes, not breaks down, just shifts. Like a chair that looked perfectly normal until you sat on it and realized one leg was slightly shorter than the others. That feeling, that wobble, that's what we're talking about today. Because staying calm isn't really about breathing techniques or counting to 10. It's about understanding why certain people and certain moments get to you in the first place. And quietly, without making a big production of it, taking that power back. Let's get into it. Why some people have a master key to your mood. Here's something I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed this too. A stranger cutting you off in traffic? Mildly irritating. You forget about it in 4 minutes. But your sibling saying the same thing your mother used to say, in the same tone, about the same topic? Suddenly, you're not a grown adult anymore. You're 14, sitting at a dinner table, feeling like nothing you do is ever quite right. Same irritation on paper, completely different impact. That's because the people who trigger us the most aren't actually doing the most damage. They're just accidentally pressing a bruise that was already there. Old stuff. Things that happened long before this conversation. Sometimes long before we even knew how to name what we were feeling. So when someone sets you off in a way that feels disproportionate, like the reaction is bigger than the moment deserves, that's usually a clue. Not about them, about something in you that still needs a little attention. And here's what I find genuinely comforting about that. It means the problem isn't that you're surrounded by difficult people. It means there's actually something specific to work with, which is way better than just being at the mercy of whoever walked in the room today. The thing nobody talks about before you get triggered. Okay, so let me tell you about my friend. I'll call her Mira because she'd kill me if I used her real name. Mira is one of the most composed people I know. In meetings, in arguments, in situations where most of us would at minimum make a face, she's steady. And one day I asked her, genuinely curious, how she does it. And she said something that I've been thinking about ever since. She said, I figured out that I'm a completely different person depending on how much sleep I got. And that was it. That was the whole answer. On the nights she slept well, ate something decent, and had even 20 minutes to herself, she could handle almost anything. A passive-aggressive comment rolled right off. A tense conversation stayed tense, but manageable. On the nights she didn't, the same comment that would have rolled off before now stuck. Sat there, festered a little. She wasn't working on her reactions in the moment. She was protecting the conditions that made calm possible in the first place. Most of us try to manage our reactions when we're already overwhelmed, which is like trying to fix a flat tire while the car is moving. What actually works is the maintenance you do before anything goes wrong. Your sleep, your food, your 10 minutes of not looking at anything. That's not self-care in the fluffy Instagram sense. That's infrastructure. And without it, any version of calm you're trying to build is sitting on a very shaky foundation. Now, let's talk about what happens in the actual moment. Someone says something. Your chest tightens, your jaw does that thing, and you have approximately 2 seconds before you respond in a way you might regret. 2 seconds sounds like nothing, but 2 seconds is actually a door, and you can choose to walk through it or let it slam shut. Here's what walking through it looks like, and this is so unglamorous I almost didn't include it, but it actually works. You don't respond to what just happened. You respond to what you want to happen next. Let me say that differently. Most reactions are automatic. Someone does X, you do Y, it escalates, nobody wins, and you're both stewing about it separately at midnight. That's the default. But the 2-second door is where you get to ask, not out loud, just in your head, what do I actually want here? Do I want to be right? Do I want this to stop? Do I want this person to understand something? Do I want to just get through this without it becoming a whole thing? That question changes everything about what comes out of your mouth next. I tested this once in a conversation with a family member who has a real gift for saying things that land badly. And instead of responding to what they said, I paused and thought, what do I want right now? And the answer was genuinely just, I want this dinner to be nice. That's it. So I let it go. Not because I was suppressing anything, not because they were right, but because I decided what the next 5 minutes were going to look like, and I wasn't going to hand that decision to someone else's careless comment. Stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening. This one is a little uncomfortable, so stay with me. A lot of the times we lose our calm. It's not because we're angry. It's because we're desperate to be understood. We're trying to explain, justify, prove a point, get someone to see it from our side. And the more they don't, the louder we get, the more frustrated, the more tangled up in it. And here is the hard part. Some people are not available for that conversation. Not because they're bad people necessarily, but because they're somewhere else entirely, in their own defensiveness, their own version of the story, their own stuff they haven't worked through. You cannot logic someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. And trying to, especially when you're already emotional, is one of the fastest ways to completely lose your footing. This doesn't mean you stop advocating for yourself. It doesn't mean you go quiet and swallow everything. It means you learn to pick your moments. A conversation worth having with someone who's actually present and willing? Have it. Fight for it even. But a debate with someone who's already decided? That one you can step back from. Not as defeat, as a quiet act of choosing where your energy actually goes. What calm actually looks like. It's not what you think. I want to clear something up before we wrap, because I think there's a version of staying calm that's actually not calm at all. Some people go very quiet when they're triggered, very still, very measured. And from the outside, it looks like composure, but on the inside, they're just compressing everything, tightly. And that works fine until it doesn't, and then it really doesn't. Real calm isn't suppression with good posture. Real calm is when you're genuinely not rattled, because you've already made peace with the fact that people are going to do what people do. They're going to be thoughtless sometimes. They're going to misunderstand you. They're going to have bad days that they accidentally make your problem. And you can hold all of that without making it mean something enormous about your life or your worth or how things are going to go from here. There's a woman I know, older, sharp as anything, and she has this way of just absorbing difficult moments without flinching. Not because nothing gets to her, but because somewhere along the way, she decided that her peace was genuinely more valuable than being right, more valuable than winning the argument, more valuable than making sure everyone around her behaved perfectly. She said to me once, very casually, I stopped waiting for people to act right. Staying calm isn't a personality type. It's not a gift some people have and others don't. It's a decision. And honestly, it's a decision you have to keep making, sometimes multiple times in the same conversation. Some days you'll nail it and surprise even yourself. Some days someone will say the exact wrong thing at the exact wrong time, and you'll respond in a way that's very much not this video. That's okay. That's just being a person. The difference over time is this. You start noticing the wobble sooner. You start catching yourself mid-reaction instead of after. And eventually, not always, but often enough, You start choosing something better before the words even leave your mouth. That's the whole game. Noticing, choosing, repeating. If this felt like something a person in your life needs to hear, send it to them, quietly, without the accompanying commentary. Just the link. They'll figure it out. See you in the next one.